Sir, your exam.
How to preserve heritage after earthquakes. One, we need to re-examine how the structure of those sites and see what can be rebuilt or reconstructed. But then also, I think educating the community to figure out what really needs to be preserved. And in case there's a warning about such a disaster, what can be safeguarded? Should it be taken out of the site? If it's a building, it's a little harder. You can't move the building.
Like if it's like the old churches.
If it's maybe you can take some of the things that are in the church out, but the building itself.
So it's better to make it into a ruined site than to rebuild it, right? It's more wiser to do it that
probably. Although you could try rebuilding it if you follow the plans that were the original plans. But I mean, churches have been destroyed by earthquakes in many parts of the world.
It's so hard to do it.
Yeah, the question is, in a way, it's probably more the value. How could you call it? The not sentimental value.
Yes.
Both the cultural, possibly the spiritual value that you place on that site. There are some ruins where people still go. I think preserving heritage sites is a struggle because it doesn't have to be an earthquake, just a simple fire.
Yes.
I mean, the examples there in Norway, there are wooden churches. What they've done is they've equipped them with fire.
Yeah. Is UNESCO going to help the people of Bohol in at least finding ways in
sure
coping?
There will be at least a mission sent to see how to cope. I would say following such a disaster as the typhoon, the urgent thing currently is survival, is health, is cleaning up the debris before you can actually start rebuilding schools. I mean, actually, my youngest daughter asked me that question. She said, "Oh, are UNESCO going to do things about education?" I said, "Even if we bring in schools in tents, we need to have a spot somewhere to put those tents up."
Yes.
And currently, seeing the footage we're seeing,
it's not so good.
There's so much debris that maybe the airport is the place where there's at least some ground without anything blocking it. So, yes, UNESCO will provide support and help. The question is exactly when. Some of even what they're currently saying about the emergency help, it will take a few days, maybe a few weeks to set up a few things because currently things are still on transition, if you want to say.
But of course, UNESCO is really prepared to help.
Yeah, UNESCO is prepared to help, and I'm sure there will be several missions going to the affected areas to evaluate both the impact it had on culture and cultural heritage sites, on education, on actually probably some of the specialists Wendy was mentioning are probably also going to go from the scientific point of view.
Yes.
Could more have been done to have some kind of alert system?
Yes.
And then from social science perspective, how do you deal with people having to migrate? I mean, we've seen the shots of these big army planes flying people back to Manila.
Yes.
I guess currently it's a good solution, but how long are those people going to stay in Manila?
Yes,
increasing
which is like congested as you speak.
And I mean, we saw what happened in the U.S. with the Katrina.
Yes.
And people were moved to Texas, and some of them still haven't moved back.
Yes.
And so I think it's a question of time, question of urgency, question of preparedness, I guess. And at the same time, it's probably a type of issue we're going to have to deal more and more in the future.
Thank you very much.